The 2020 high school football season was one for the record books.
We didn't come all this way just to lose.
But the biggest feat from this fall may just be the fact that we made it through. From contentious Zoom meetings,
the motion has passed to postpone the start of fall sports until August 24th.
To a last-second venue for the championship stage.
Tonight from Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee,
we honor the best of the best locally.
1, 2, 3, Blitzies!
On the 2020 Blitzies.
This is Action Sports Jack's Friday Night Blitz.
Back on campus for the first time since 2004 when the Swamp played host to every FHSAA title. They were decided in one of the Sunshine State's premier college destinations, Doak Campbell Stadium, home of the Seminoles, and this week home of the best in Florida high school football. Unique experience for our local student athletes to play on Bobby Bowden Field. Hello, everybody, and welcome to the 2020 edition of the Blitzies, our yearly look back at the season that was and a chance to honor those who excelled under the lights of the Friday Night Blitz. In our profession, there are a few things more exciting than the rush of high school football. From the actual games to everything else that revolves around it, we absolutely love it. Before we start handing out the awards, let's get you up to date with the latest from Title Central in Tallahassee. Action Sports Jack's Marcel Robinson was there for a couple of days and has the wrap-up.
Some call it winter, some call it the holiday season. But if you ask the stars of Friday Night Lights, it's ring season. 3 of our local teams made it to the state championship games this past week and earned the opportunity to be crowned the best of the best at Doak Campbell Stadium in Tallahassee. First up was University Christian. They were looking for championship number 10. Their foe, defending champion Champagnat in 2A. UC found themselves in an early 2-touchdown hole, but fought back to take the lead near the end of the first half. Second half, same story. Chasing points, David Penland dials up the trick play. Joe Carter hands the ball off to Desario Rouse, and he lets it fly 66 yards to Jawan Gray for the touchdown. That cut the Lions' lead to single digits, but too much Champagnat offense led to University Christian falling 41-27 in the end.
They now know how much work it takes to get here, and I just told them at the end of the game that younger guys remember how this feels. It's not fun losing, and I told them we're going to be back. It's been a great year. This stinks, but overall, it's been a great year for UC football.
Second on the docket, Trinity Christian. Looking for their first state title since 2016. Their foe, Chaminade Madonna. This game fit the billing for being scheduled as the nightcap for Wednesday evening. This was a story of 2 halves. Trinity's first half was, forgettable, and the second half was unforgettable. The connection between Ja'Cory Jordan and the Florida commit Marcus Burke reared its head late in the fourth quarter. With 48 seconds to play on 4th down, Burke comes down with the game-winning touchdown reception. Oh, and forget a kiss. Trinity sealed this one with a sack, a convincing exclamation point to claim the 3A crown.
I don't know how you can say it's any bigger, but it's huge. Just getting started late. Not getting all your kids healthy, and them coming back, being able to just keep fighting week in and week out, and putting together 12 wins in a row that just says a lot about them. This senior group is a special group now. It's a special group.
And finally, on Thursday afternoon, Bowles was one step closer to redemption. Last year, the Bulldogs were on the losing end of a comeback. This year, they faced an explosive Cardinal Gibbons team. Bowles took the early 7-0 lead when Cade Frew made his presence known on the second play from scrimmage. However, that would be followed by 35 unanswered points by the Lions. Give Bowles credit. They fought back in the fourth quarter, but too little, too late. The Bulldogs were crowned runner-up for the second consecutive year.
The opportunity to get on this field and play, and get to play for a championship with this group, and it's been awesome. Obviously, we're disappointed, but the biggest gift of football is not something that you get from it. It is what you become while you go throughout it, and that I could not be more proud of this group of guys and who they are.
Still plenty to be proud of. All 3 of our teams were certainly championship caliber teams, and personally, I salute every player and coach on each of those staffs, especially considering the challenges they all faced this year. Next year, we'll do it all again. In the studio, Marcel Robinson, let's go back to you.
All right, thank you, Marcel. Seems like a good transition into our Team of the Year nominees, including the Bowles Bulldogs. Back-to-back trips to the state Final Four. North of the border, the Ware County Gators put together another outstanding season in Waycross, going toe-to-toe with one of the state's best in Cartersville. Speaking of state's best, in 3A, that honor goes to Trinity Christian. The Conquerors played one bad half of football, but after that went on a championship run. Their defense was outstanding. And Bartram Trail perennially hangs with the big dogs, not afraid to play anyone and showing why. Wins on Friday nights. Let's get our first winner of the Blitzies 2020. Well, the Team of the Year is Trinity Christian. This year we deferred to the Hartward, the only team to bring home an FHSAA state title in our area. Berlin Dormany and the Trinity Christian Conquerors. Congratulations to them. An opening week loss to Bowles fueled this team the rest of the year as they not only beat the best in our area, Lee, Rains, Mandarin, and Columbia, but they also put together a playoff run with victories over South Florida, Central Florida, and the Panhandle. Oh, yeah, that's why they're state champs. With Gators signing Marcus Burke and QB Ja'Cory Jordan providing the dramatics in the fourth quarter of the championship win, the Conquerors are once again state's best.
I just give it all to my teammates. My teammates really believed in me. They told me halftime, we got this, but they behind my back. And that was all the encouragement I needed, and we came out second half and made plays.
8th state title for the Conquerors. One bonus shout out to throw in there as well for Bishop Snyder. They used late game heroics to win the SSAC Single A crown, a moment that school and its players won't soon forget. Nice job on the championship. That Snyder State quarterfinal against Seven Rivers featured a fourth quarter full of lead changes, just one of the factors that puts a game in the running for Game of the Year. We had a hard time narrowing this one down for sure. Overtime, a common theme in it. It took 3 of them for Ribault to beat Tallahassee Godby in a game they trailed 20-0 early on. Throw in a rivalry, and it gets even better. West Nassau has had Fernandina Beach's number as of late, but not this year, with the Pirates winning a double OT thriller, 56-50. Then you have comebacks, like Fleming Island, down 15 in the fourth quarter to Creekside. They'd overcome that deficit to pull up a 26-23 victory, only to see the tables turned a week later in a Clay County showdown with Oakleaf, down 22-7, only to run off 22 straight second-half points and stun the Golden Eagles. A back-and-forth affair early in the season came at Trinity, where the Conquerors went toe-to-toe with Columbia and used a late touchdown to build some momentum. And you want a thrilling ending? Oakleaf and Bartram Trail traded blows in the regular season with the final knockout coming on a 54-yard field goal in the final minute. All amazing finishes, but only one gets the Game of the Year nod.
That's exactly what it's all about. That's when you see us say embrace the grind. That was the grind, and we embraced it.
Well, you talk about a team with momentum. The Creekside Knights, fresh off a win over Bowles, taking on undefeated Fleming Island, looking good through the first 3 quarters, but they could not hold off the Golden Eagles. This big play, 64-yard strip, scoop, and score, put the home team in position, and T.K. Kosak finished the job. A stunning comeback at the Rock for the win for Fleming Island. Time now to bring in Stuart Weber as we start to introduce you to our Player of the Year candidates.
This was not an easy task this year, which really speaks to the overall quality of players in our area. We begin in Clay County with a bruiser on the ground, the Blue Devils' Alquarius Ray, who led all local rushers with just under 1,900 yards and 24 touchdowns, averaging 9.9 yards a carry. That, ladies and gentlemen, is what you call a first down machine. Speaking of guys that put up big stats, nobody in the entire state had more interceptions than Sandalwood's JADON CANADY. 10 picks, good enough to tie for second in the country, but that's not all. Throw in 8 receiving touchdowns, 2 punt return touchdowns, and that creates an amazing two-way season for the Tulane signee. We'll have your other 2 candidates coming up a little bit later on in the show.
Oh, yeah, we're looking forward to that. Thank you, Stuart. Before we crown more winners on the Blitzies, it's time for a quick break. Still to come, our top plays of the year. Make sure you stay with us.
We are Trinity Christian, and this is the Friday Night Blitz.
4th down, Jordan. Well protected, throwing for Burke. He's got it for the touchdown.
Oh, there it is. When it comes to making plays, there's no better time to do it than at state championship stage on 4th and 7. No shortage of highlights in Tallahassee this year, but that one takes the cake for our Jacksonville teams with Trinity winning the state championship. We certainly saw our share of great plays and, frankly, could spend the entire half hour just showing you all the good highlights from the ball. I mean, look check it out. So turn around, look at this wall, and pick your favorite one, right? We had so many good games this year, so many big-time plays in high school football. So glad they played. Instead, we got to bring back Marcel Robinson, though, to run down the top 5 plays of the year. Let's do it.
One long season with hundreds of highlights. It's always so hard to narrow down all of the excitement to just 5 plays, but somebody's got to do it, right? Let's get to it. Number 5, we'll go back to week 6. Terry Parker hosting Baker County. We've called Scooby Graham's name a lot this year, mainly for reasons such as this. Show me a more determined player looking for the end zone. He sheds tacklers and clothing on this tough run for 6. Wildcats won that one, 42-14 at the end. Number 4, hey, kickers are people too. Just ask Bartram Trill. David Kemp boots this one from 54 yards out. My kick would probably be questionable from 5 or 4 yards out, to be honest. What a way to walk off with a win for the Bears against rival Oakley. On to number 3. Fleming Island facing off against Creekside. Landon Frazier is stood up, and he's stripped by Dedrick Walker, and there he goes. That's a strip and score, folks. Golden Eagles take the victory. Number 2 features one of the more underrated players in this city, JADON CANADY. Skies over a defender and somehow gets a foot down in bounds. Just need one in high school, folks. What an effort. And finally, we'll head back to Tallahassee for number 1. Marcus Burke put Trinity on top in the last minute, but how's this for an exclamation point? Boom! Sealed with a hit. That's how you close a game. Jonathan Goddard says, go home, Chaminade Madonna. We're done here. What a season. I don't know about you guys, but I'm spent. 2020 tried to kill our vibe, but as you can see, it was filled with lots of fun. Let's go back to you.
Remember, you can always go back and watch any of the shows from earlier this year on social media, YouTube, Facebook, visit actionnewsjacks.com. And if you take a look at all our coverage over there, not just from this past season, but also from years prior in our making of the program on Rains and St. Augustine, check it out, high school football at your fingertips. We've already introduced you to JADON CANADY and Alcurious Ray. Stuart Weber is back to reveal the other 2 finalists for our Blitzies Player of the Year award.
Quarterback has been a strength of Northeast Florida when you look at the last few years. Easiest way to prove that, look at the guys playing on Saturdays. Mac Jones, Jeff Sims, Nick Troney. The next guy to make that Division I impact, how about Walter Simmons III? He could be a pretty good guy up in that next level. The Oak Leaf signal caller threw for 20 touchdowns and is headed to East Carolina to try and be the next David Garrard. Back to the ground we go, and Jason Patterson from Ed White, a guy we routinely saw breaking off 60-yard touchdown runs for the Commanders. A big play threat. Every time he touched the ball, Patterson went over 200 yards 4 times. Probably wishes he could play Bishop Kenny every week, because in 2 games against the Crusaders, he ran for a tick under 700 yards and 8 touchdowns. Patterson, Simmons, Kennedy, or Ray. One of those 4 is going to be our Player of the Year.
Looking forward to that. So many good players in our area. We named the Player of the Year as well as the top coach as the 2020 Blitzies head for home coming up next. Speaking of some of our players and how much talent we have, how about National Signing Day happening this past week? You know, some of the Players of the Year candidates like Walter Simmons going to East Carolina, JADON CANADY going to Tulane, Jason Patterson going to Bowling Green, but so many more. One of the big stories actually from Signing Day was Brandon Jennings. He initially was committed, or verbally committed, to Florida State, then to Michigan, and flips on signing day to Maryland. Of course, Marcus Burke going to Florida. So much talent in our area and so much to celebrate. Congratulations to everyone in every sport that's signing to play at the next level.
We're University Christian. This Friday Night Blitz. Hey, Mom made it on TV, Mom. Turn up.
Put your mask on or make sure you're distancing.
Sidelines and stands looked a little different. No, they looked a lot different this year. Just another challenge faced by our local teams in 2020. Coaches like Rodney DeBose, all the athletic directors and the administrators and the parents and the kids that made it work, battled through quarantines to have a high school football season. And, well, selfishly, I guess we're so glad You did. As if being a football coach and mentor isn't tough enough, this year our area coaches added temperature taker, social distance enforcer, and a slew of other new responsibilities, and they did an admirable job. All part of the job when you're helping to shape young student athletes and win between the lines on Friday nights, because that's still important, too, to so many of these guys. We turn to Coach of the Year and start in 8A. Adam, guys, has been at Sandalwood nearly 2 decades. Year after year sends countless kids to the college ranks. This year, the Saints snapped a playoff victory drought that went back to 2006. Nice job by Coach Geis and the Saints. Forget playoffs, victory droughts at Atlantic Coast. The Stingrays had never been to the postseason. Mike Montemayor changed that this year, and the Rays won twice in the playoffs. They battled all season leading up to that. On the other side of the spectrum, St. Augustine is used to playing in playoffs, and Brian Braddock guided his alma mater all the way to the state semifinals this season. And finally, John Pate and the Hilliard Flashes. What a nice story. Ran through an undefeated regular season, won their opening round playoff game before running into perennial power Madison County. Just 2 years ago, this Hilliard team was 3-7. Super turnaround. The Coach of the Year is Brian Braddock. He knows what winning football is supposed to look like at St. Augustine High School, but more importantly, he knows what it looks like off the field with a program that has an immeasurable impact on the community and its players. Having played under Joey Wiles in the Yellow Jackets' heyday, Braddock led the Jackets within a whisker of playing for a state championship this season with an impressive playoff run in 6A. They lost in triple overtime, in fact, 49-48 in the state semis. Brian Braddock is our Coach of the Year.
It was very challenging, but I will say this. It really speaks to the power of what a motivated human being will do, because these kids wanted to play football. So they were willing to comply. If we had said you got to wear 17 masks and spin around on your head, they would have done it. It means so much to these kids. It's so important for their well-being. I'm just grateful that they had the opportunity.
All right, one last award to give our Player of the Year. A quick reminder of the nominees: Clay running back Alcurious Ray, Sandalwood 2A athlete Jadon CANADY, Oakleaf QB Walter Simmons III, and Ed White rusher Jason Patterson, who's probably still in the cold tub after all that work this fall. The winner is... Say hello to our 2020 Friday Night Blitz Player of the Year, Jadon CANADY. And I called him Jadon instead of JADON, like I did all fall. Most of the time, every time we did a highlight, we had some fun with that. Congratulations, man. You're our Player of the Year.
Yes, sir. Thank you very much for giving me this award.
What kind of season was this for you? Obviously, everything's crazy in 2020, but you were tremendous. I mean, you scored in every which way possible, and obviously best in the state with 10 interceptions.
Yes, sir. The season was very hard for us. COVID really slowed us down. It was a hard season. We were very late into the season. And then I came out at 10 picks with 12 touchdowns, so I had a very good season with the outcome.
10 picks is a lot of picks. I mean, some teams you play don't even throw the ball that much. Why did it happen like that? Did they not take you seriously? Did you just have an eye for the ball? Did the ball bounce the right way? How did you get to 10?
It was a mixture of everything, I would play off coverage. I would kind of bait the quarterback into making some bad throws, or it would be tight man coverage, and I would just make a play on the ball, really.
Well, it's kind of interesting, right, that I messed up your name most of the fall, because it's kind of like not enough people knew who you were this fall or going into this season, and then all of a sudden people started calling you, right? How did the word start to spread, and how many calls did you start to get halfway through this season?
Really towards the end of the season when I got most of my calls, calls from Tulane, Memphis, USC, Kansas State. A lot of big schools called me toward the end of the season because I had such a great season this year.
Well,
it was pretty cool.
Look, I got the hat on, man. I'm going to put it on for you right here because the family gave me a Tulane hat. So I'm going to wear it. Tulane's the choice. Why did you pick Tulane?
Tulane, it was a very good school, It's one of the top schools in the country, really. Also, the football team, I thought, provided the best opportunity for me to get to the next level. So I thought the mixture of those two really was the best school for me.
Very interesting. You were telling me beforehand that Perry Nickerson, Jacksonville Jaguars player, you worked out with him. He went to Tulane. So what an interesting tie, right? He put in a good word for you.
Yes, sir, you did. It showed me a lot of tactics, tendencies of receivers in the league, and I used that this year, to guard my receiver, really. And this year I let up, I think, two catches on me this whole entire year, so it worked out pretty well.
Yeah, I would say that worked out pretty well. But, it felt like we weren't just saying your name on Friday nights when it comes to defense and picking it off. It was punt returns. It was all different. Did you have a favorite way of scoring this year?
I would say my pick sixes, really. Probably my funnest way of scoring was probably my pick sixes. I had 2 of those.
All right, man. Well, you are our 2020 Friday Night Blitz Player of the Year. Congratulations. Out of nowhere to getting some hardware and heading to Tulane. Thanks for the hat, and good luck.
Thank you very much.
Congratulations to that young man and all our award winners and nominees and everybody who played. It's so hard to pick just 4 nominees, right? Hope you enjoyed our Blitzies Award Show. Remember to check out Action Sports Jack's primetime every Saturday and Sunday night right here on Fox 30 as well. And CBS 47, you can catch our SEC Championship postgame show coming up later tonight. You think about some of the kids you saw tonight in this show that we're recognizing and so much more that we left out and could show. And it reminds me of on a championship Saturday in college football, Xavier Hutchinson playing for Iowa State. A few years ago, he was catching passes at Bartram Trail, had a big game for the Cyclones today, even though they lost to Oklahoma. And then, of course, tonight, going on right now, SEC Championship, Mac Jones has a chance to win the Heisman Trophy and could become the 3rd local player since 2008 to do so. Let's leave you with the best of the bands from the season. High school football is not the same without the fans, the cheerleaders, the bands, and everybody else that supports it. Hope you had a good season. Happy holidays, everybody, and thanks for watching the 2020 Blitzies.
Action Sports Jack's Primetime, Saturday at 10:30 on Fox 30.